Offense, defense, special teams. Football is a team sport, and Texas A&M is the most complete, exciting football team in the Southwest Conference, and one of the best in the nation in 1991. The Aggie offense set a school record, scoring 402 points, an average of 36.5 points per game, which ranked first in the Southwest Conference and 7th in the country. Leading the way for A&M is the Southwest Conference Offensive Player of the Year and Davey O'Brien Award finalist, senior quarterback Bucky Richardson, simply the winningest quarterback in school history. Running back Greg Hill rushed for 1,216 yards behind a young offensive line, breaking Earl Campbell's Southwest Conference freshman rushing record. The Aggie defense, better known as the Wrecking Crew, ended the season ranked number 1 in the country, allowing only 222.4 yards per game. This defense led the Southwest Conference in every defensive category. The unit is led by seniors Kevin Smith and Quentin Coriat. Smith is an All-American cornerback, and Coriat is the Southwest Conference Defensive Player of the Year. The attacking style of defense registered 56 quarterback sacks, setting a school record. The special teams came through with big plays all season. The punt return unit was ranked 5th in the country with an average of 13.4 yards per return, and punt coverage team allowed only 4.7 yards per return. The Aggies posted a perfect 8-0 record in Southwest Conference play, winning the championship by 3 games. Not bad for a group considered by many at the beginning of the year too young to become champions. And led by the Southwest Conference Coach of the Year, R.C. Slocum. This Aggie football team dared to dream dreams and made the commitment to one another to make those dreams come true. Redshirt freshman running back Greg Hill lived up to his preseason billing as he rushed for 212 yards, the best total ever by a Division 1A freshman running back in his first collegiate game, to lead the Aggies to a 45-7 swamping of the LSU Tigers before 66,281 fans at Kyle Field and a regional television audience. Hill broke the previous record of 207 yards set by Baylor's Walter Abercrombie against the Aggies in 1978. With quarterback Bucky Richardson being injured early in the game, Hill and several of his teammates took up the slack. Kent Petty, Jeff Granger, and Steve Emerson, Richardson's backup quarterbacks, combined to complete 6 of 13 passes for 108 yards and 1 touchdown with no interceptions. Granger in particular shined in his first action on the gridiron as he completed 5 of 8 passes for 89 yards and ran for another score. The Aggies' defensive domination of LSU was complete. The Tigers managed only 10 first downs, the fewest by an Aggie opponent since TCU had only 7 in a 74-10 A&M win in 1986. They totaled 31 yards on the ground and just 197 yards of total offense. A&M 45, LSU 7. Tulsa running back Chris Hewley ran for a career-best 231 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead the fired-up Golden Hurricane to a 35-34 comeback win over the Aggies before another regional television crowd. The Golden Hurricane trailed at halftime 28-10, but rallied for 25 second-half points. All 4 second-half Tulsa scoring drives took less than 1 minute as turnovers, dropped passes, and busted assignments spelled defeat for A&M. The game was played before 30,122 at Skelly Stadium in Tulsa. The Aggies started an all-freshman backfield, and quarterback Jeff Granger threw 4 touchdown passes, including a 61-yard effort to Brian Mitchell. Cornerback Kevin Smith intercepted a T.J. Rubley pass to break the all-time Southwest Conference record for interceptions. Tulsa 35, Texas A&M 34. The Aggie defense wanted to prove that it was still the wrecking crew, and the Southwestern Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns happened to be the next opponent. The result was a 34-7 mauling in front of 52,271 at Kyle Field. The swarming Aggie defense recorded 6 sacks and recovered 5 fumbles, in limiting USL to 234 total yards. The Aggies turned 4 of the fumbles into 24 points, including a 63-yard fumble return for a touchdown by Thorpe Award candidate Kevin Smith. The Aggie offense, which saw the return of quarterback Bucky Richardson, generated 385 yards of total offense and moved the ball the entire night. The Aggies moved the ball well in the second half, but only added 7 more points. Richardson connected with Tony Harrison for a 24-yard touchdown pass to make it 34-0 midway through the third quarter. USL scored its only touchdown in the fourth quarter on a 14-yard touchdown run by quarterback Taiwan Hayes, as many reserves saw action. Texas A&M 34, USL 7.
Last Wednesday, we had a terrible tragedy strike our football team. One of our players, James Glenn, a freshman kicker, died suddenly on our practice field. This summer in August, as we were starting the season, we took some footage of James Glenn kicking. Last week in the Tulsa game, we also took some footage. I have that footage now, and we'd like to show that in tribute to James. He touched all of our lives, and he will be missed greatly at Texas A&M.
And I'm just so happy I was able to be out there with the guys and doing what I love to do. And I'm just extremely happy for the win. And we said before, this one was for the troops and to James and his family, and we're just extremely proud of the win.
Well, I put a lot of that on our coaches. You know, our coaches got us ready. We had a rough week this week, the tragedy, you know, but I feel like, you know, our coaches got us ready, and we did what we had to do.
Well, it's obviously very hard, and I'm just proud of the players and the way they took care of their business all the way around, off the field and on the field. And it's hard, but we're proud of what they did out there today, and for a good man, James Glenn.
For the third time in 4 Aggie games, the regional television cameras were present in Lubbock. Texas Tech had won 4 of the past 6 meetings in Lubbock, but the Aggies didn't seem to notice as they blasted the Red Raiders 37-14 before a sellout crowd of 50,000 plus at Jones Stadium. Greg Hill's 137 yards rushing led a grinding ground game that gained 322 yards on 66 carries. Bucky Richardson scored twice from the 1, and Terry Vinatulius added a 30-yard field goal to stake the Aggies to an early 17-0 first quarter lead. The stifling Aggie defense then took control of the game as they held Tech to a mere 8 rushing yards on 29 carries. Freshman defensive lineman Sam Adams made his first collegiate start and sacked Tech starter Jamie Gill on the second series, knocking Gill out of the game. Marcus Buckley led the Aggie defensive charge as he totaled 3 sacks and recovered a fumble. Texas A&M 37, Texas Tech 14.
Yeah, we came out, we were really focused, you know, we knew what we had to do, and we really came together and took one more step forward to what we're trying to accomplish.
My offensive line, again, they deserve all the credit. Those guys blocked their behind off all day. Holes was just opening up. I really didn't do too much. I was just carrying the ball.
Well, you know, we had a good week last week, and we wanted to, you know, keep the winning streak going, and we knew they had a good offense, and we wanted to come out, you know, defense fly around, everybody go to the ball, and basically that's what we did. And
Coach R.C. Slocum's youthful Aggies belted the Baylor Bears 34-12 before more than spectators, the second largest crowd at Floyd Casey Stadium, and an ABC TV regional television audience. The Aggies continued their first half dominance, jumping out nothing lead against the Bears. To this point in the season, A&M had outscored opponents 141-10 in the first half. Once again, senior quarterback Bucky Richardson guided the Aggies. He passed for 182 yards and rushed for 42 more, including 2 one-yard touchdowns. The Aggie defense shut down the high-octane Baylor offense, which entered the contest ranked number 1 in the Southwest Conference in total offense. The Bears could muster only 243 yards and did not score until the game was no longer in doubt. Junior linebacker Marcus Buckley recorded 2 sacks and also had 3 tackles for losses. Texas A&M 34, Baylor 12.
We had 2 weeks to prepare for them, and that's what you saw today. You saw a well-prepared team against a team that was kind of off balance. I mean, it seemed to me that they couldn't really get it clicking. I mean, from watching the film on them against other teams, they were going for the long ball and taking the gambles, but against us, they were just kind of conservative.
I think we gained a lot of respect today because Baylor's defense front four, they were just, I considered them one of the best in the nation. And we just went out there and we said, hey, we just need to keep on working at them, and we'll do it. And I think we gained a lot of respect.
The Aggie defense showed the 65,812 observers at Kyle Field and a home sports entertainment pay-per-view audience why it's earned the nickname the Wrecking Crew. The A&M defense sacked UH quarterback David Klingler 11 times and pursued him relentlessly throughout the day. Even when Klingler got off a pass, most of the time he ended up sprawled on the turf. Greg Hill scored on a 24-yard run near the end of the first quarter to give the Aggies a 14-0 lead that they would never relinquish. On the day, Hill rushed for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns on 25 carries, giving him 791 yards for the year and eclipsing A&M's freshman rushing record of 726 set by Curtis Dickey in 1976. Senior cornerback Kerry Vincent posted the first 2 interceptions of his career and also made a touchdown-saving tackle. Bucky Richardson improved his record to 19-5-1 as the Aggie starting quarterback and improved to 5-0 for the 1991 season. The Aggie defense limited the run and shoot to 277 yards of total offense and held David Klingler without a touchdown pass for the first time as a starter. In the last 5 games against the Houston run and shoot, A&M has posted 35 sacks for a minus 255 yards, and the Aggies are 4-1 in that span. Texas A&M 27, Houston 18.
Well, I'll tell you what, our guys played hard, number one, and we covered, and we mixed up zone coverage with man coverage. But this was an unbelievable experience for me. I mean, it seemed like they had the ball 20 minutes and only a minute went off on the clock.
Well, we have this little saying, lean on me, and I think we leaned on each other. And, it was a team effort. The defense did it when we had to. We came up with the big plays. The offense did it when they had to in the clutch. And like Coach said, it was a team effort. And you got to be proud of everyone, the offense and the defense.
The young Aggies went to Houston to face the Rice Owls, and a couple of veterans provided the spark to lead the Aggies to a 38-21 win before 42,600 fans at Rice Stadium. Senior Kevin Smith returned a punt 71 yards for a score and picked off an owl pass in the end zone for the 20th of his career. Senior signal caller Bucky Richardson accounted for a career-high 359 yards of total offense, 231 passing, 128 rushing, and 2 touchdowns against the Owls. He also became only the second Aggie quarterback to rush and pass for over 100 yards in a single game. The Aggie offense engineered a 14-play, 98-yard touchdown drive, the longest drive of the season. The offense continued its string of scoring on the opening possession when Richardson capped a 64-yard drive with a 1-yard run. Texas A&M 38, Rice 21.
Well, I thought Bucky really threw the ball well today, and I think that's what kept him off balance, and it gave us some big plays. And I believe with what he did today, he ended up being the second all-time leading total offense leader in a game. I think Ed Hargett was the #1 guy, so Bucky had a great game.
Had to come in, Wrecking Crew had to really put on a pretty good, tough performance in order to stop him. The defense pulled together. We started kind of slow, and he got some momentum going. Him and LaRocca, freshman quarterback there, really played well. A little crack screens worked, but they had a whole team. It wasn't really just Cobb that played so well today, but we pulled together and were able to pull it out.
The Aggies scored early and often as they rolled to a 44-7 win in front of 27,000 chilled fans and a national ESPN television audience. Bucky Richardson and the Aggie offense rolled 594 yards of total offense, but the Wrecking Crew was equally dominating. Derek Frazier picked off a pass and returned it 27 yards for a touchdown on TCU's first play from scrimmage, and it only got worse for the Horned Frogs. TCU was limited to only 8 first downs and could manage only 189 net yards. Bucky Richardson threw for a career-high 321 yards, which was the second-best passing total in school history, behind Ed Hargett's 376 yards. Of Richardson's 16 completions, 15 went for first downs, including his first 8. Greg Hill became the first freshman in Southwest Conference history to rush for 1,000 yards in a season. His 1,015-yard total broke the SWC record of 928 yards set by Texas's Earl Campbell in 1974. The Aggies posted season highs in total offense, 594 yards, and in passing offense, 321 yards. Texas A&M 44, TCU 7. With visions of the Cotton Bowl, a vocal crowd of 62,487 in the stands, and the ESPN national television audience, the Aggies powered to a 13-3 victory in Arkansas's final trip to Kyle Field as a member of the Southwest Conference. The Razorbacks tried to surprise A&M by coming out on the wishbone formation on offense, but it had no effect on the wrecking crew. The defense, led by Quentin Coriat's 14 tackles, did not allow a completed pass and held Arkansas to a season-low 121 yards of total offense. While the defense was doing a stellar job of shutting down the Razorbacks, the usually high-powered Aggie offense struggled to put points on the board. The game was still up for grabs in the third quarter, with A&M clinging to a 6-3 lead when Bucky Richardson decided to take things into his own hands. With A&M facing first and goal at the Arkansas 4-yard line, Richardson rolled right and carried 3 Razorbacks into the end zone for the game's only touchdown. Texas A&M 13, Arkansas 3.
And I think we always look at it as that we may not have to catch but one pass a game, but that may be the one pass that may end up being a big first down that we have to have. But and our philosophy is that we're going to do whatever we have to do in the throwing game when it's thrown to us to make the big plays when we have to do them, because that's what it's going to take at times for us to win the football game, and I think that's what happened tonight.
It's always difficult to go back to the run. Run is whether come out and try to play a real physical game. It's difficult because it's a different type of ball than the run and shoot and the different things we've been playing with U of H and Rice and TCU, where they mostly throw the ball. And you remember how, though, after a day or two working at it.
Well, what we expected was a hard mission. We didn't expect for it to be a cakewalk. We expected it to be hard, and which it was. And our defense held together, and it came out the way we wanted to come out.
The youthful Aggies clinched their first Southwest Conference championship since 1987 with a 65-6 drubbing of rebuilding SMU before more than 52,000 fans at Kyle Field. The Aggies clinched a berth in the Mobile Cotton Bowl. Staying with the traditional fast start, the Aggies built a 35-0 halftime lead and actually had quarterback Bucky Richardson sitting on the bench with most of the starters by halftime. Head coach R.C. Slocum was able to play 75 different players. Richardson led the Aggie offense as he threw a career-high 3 first-half touchdown passes. The Aggie defense held SMU to a season-low 117 yards of total offense, which helped move the wrecking crew to the top of the NCAA total defense charts. A&M had 7 sacks, which gave them a school record 51 for the season. The Aggies also tied an NCAA record by blocking 3 punts in one game. True freshman Antonio Shorter had 2 of the blocks, and Reggie Graham had the other. Texas A&M 65, SMU 6.
You know, all through practice, everybody was trying to tell everybody to stay focused. You know, we had to come out here and do one thing, and that was to beat SMU. I think defense played very good. You know, we stayed focused, and, you know, we did just that.
That was one of our biggest goals. I mean, us coming through a young team, we didn't know what to expect, but we wanted to try to go undefeated, and we got one more game against Texas, and we're hyped up to play against them.
Coach R.C. Slocum preached patience to his young team all season long. Cotton Bowl berth with a victory over SMU, Coach Slocum asked the Cotton Bowl committee to wait until after the Texas game to extend their invitation. The Aggies' patience paid off as they dismantled the Longhorns 31-14 in front of 76,532 fans at Kyle Field and a national ESPN television audience. Junior linebacker Marcus Buckley got the Aggies going early as he intercepted a Peter Gardier swing pass on Texas's first play from scrimmage and returned it 19 yards for a quick 7-0 Aggie lead. The Aggies made it 10-0 midway through the second quarter as Terry Venetoulias connected from 26 yards out to cap a 44-yard, 13-play drive. The Longhorns closed within 10-7 at the half after an interception set them up at the A&M 20-yard line. The Aggie offense took control to open the second half as they marched 80 yards in 10 plays. Greg Hill finished the drive from 2 yards out. The Aggie defense dominated throughout the game. All-American cornerback Kevin Smith broke the game open in the third quarter as he returned a punt 73 yards for a touchdown to put the Aggies up 24-7. The Aggie defense, which finished #1 in the nation in total defense, held Texas to 165 yards of total offense for the game. Texas A&M 31, Texas 14.
You know, they're a tough defense, and we knew it was going to be a slugging match. And we just hung in there and kept plugging, and we ended up putting some points on the board, enough to win. And I think tonight was a total team win. Defense, special teams, and offense. It took all three, but we did it. And we're extremely happy. We went undefeated, and it's been a great year.
It was my first interception in my career, and it was a great feeling. You know, I was just happening to be at the right place at the right time, getting off a block by the tackle, and I looked up and it was right there, so I just grabbed it and took off running. You know, just a natural reaction, and it's the greatest feeling I've ever had before, especially scoring a touchdown on defense.
What about the Well, I'm real proud for R.C. Slocum, his staff, and even more for that fine young group of young men. I think A&M just had a magnificent season, and I think it's one of the best coaching jobs in the history of our conference. And there's some talent there, but also know they got to get back in a hurry and get ready for a fine football team, Florida State. I've seen Florida State 2 or 3 times, and in my opinion, Florida State is as good as any football team in America.
Before a crowd of 73,728 in the Cotton Bowl and a CBS national television audience looking on, the Texas A&M Aggies and Florida State Seminoles waged a fierce defensive struggle, with the Seminoles coming out on top 10-2 in the 56th annual Mobile Cotton Bowl Classic. The Aggie defense lived up to its #1 rating in the country by limiting the high-powered FSU offense to a season-low 280 net yards and intercepted All-America quarterback Casey Weldon 4 times. Senior safety Chris Crooms was named the outstanding defensive player of the game, recording 2 interceptions, breaking up another pass, and recording 5 tackles. Sophomore free safety Patrick Bates picked off the other 2 Weldon tosses. On offense, the Aggies could not hold on to the ball, turning it over 8 times, 6 by fumbles. The Aggie offense was kept out of the end zone for the first time all season and was limited to a season-low 180. Keeping up with a season-long tradition, the Aggie offense took its initial drive deep into FSU territory. With a second down from the Seminole 40-yard line, quarterback Bucky Richardson pitched to freshman tailback Greg Hill, who broke the line of scrimmage and raced to the end zone. Hill was hit at the 2-yard line and fumbled through the end zone, giving Florida State the ball on the 2. Aggie linebacker Quentin Coriat followed with a sack of Weldon in the end zone to give A&M an early 2-0 lead. An A&M fumble led to Florida State's only touchdown when Weldon kept on the bootleg to give FSU a 7-2 lead at the end of the first quarter. The defenses continued to keep the offenses out of the end zone. The only other score came on a Florida State 27-yard field goal with 2:30 remaining in the game. Florida State 10, Texas A&M 2.
Yeah, I am. You know, we just didn't get the breaks on offense, but the defense, they played extremely well. We had 8 turnovers. They only had 10 points, so you can't say that much about the defense. But, you know, I think as a whole, the team did a good job. We just didn't get the breaks when we had to make the big plays, and fumbled a couple of times, but just didn't make the big plays when we had to.
It's always tough when you don't win. Our kids have given everything they've had all year, and we had some great goals for this game. And I was proud of them for not quitting. and a lot of bad things happen to them. But you know, we're a team, and you know, we haven't lost a game this year because of either offense or defense, and we haven't won a game because of either offense or defense. It's a team deal, and I was just proud of our kids the way they fought.
Yeah, I tell you, it was really frustrating. You know, and with the first 2 times down, we had a chance to score. We fumbled the ball out of the end zone, and then we dropped the pass down there, and it could have been 14-0. Instead, you know, we ended up losing the football game. And of course, putting the ball on the ground as many times as we did, it's pretty hard to get any continuity. And when we did get something going on 1st or 2nd down, 3rd down, we couldn't convert and had to punt the ball away. So, you know, I give a lot of credit to our defense, and I give a lot of credit to their defense too. They're a good football team.
We played tough games, so did they. They had a real good defense also, and they kept the score low for a long time. It was just battle defenses, and we hit when we needed to hit and came back. We needed to try to get the ball in the end zone at certain times, and we didn't quite do it, but we'll be back.